Good day, folks, on this Wednesday, 10th of July. Okay, a double podcast for me today. I thought I would do a double because it's important to carry on a particular point I was making, which I left kind of incomplete. And I don't really want to be guilty of the same sins as the mainstream media, namely omitting details that don't suit the general narrative. Well, that's exactly my point. It's not just about narratives, it's about sensationalism. So, when they when they send in the clowns, bring out an expert, my preferred term is send in the clowns, they're not bringing in the person who's going to give the most expert or informed analysis. They're going to bring in the person who gives the most sensational analysis. My favourite example of this is Gordon Chang. For those of you who are unfamiliar with him, he's the favourite go-to guy of media such as Fox News or The Telegraph, often labelled China expert. Okay, so what qualifications does he have to be called a China expert apart from having an Asian face and wearing a suit and tie? Well, in the year 2000, he did write his most famous work, The Coming Collapse of China, wherein he predicted that the People's Republic of China as a political entity would collapse by 2011. Upon this prediction not coming to pass, he revised this collapse date to 2012, rather ambitiously. And as we're sat here in 2024, sorry, Gordon, you're still not yet, still waiting. Well, again, this is a guy who has spent his whole career being wrong. Among his other works was Nuclear Showdown, where he predicts a nuclear war between the US and North Korea. Let's not even go into debunking that one. I mean, I feel like even debunking Gordon Chang himself is rather low-hanging fruit as it is. However, it wouldn't be necessary if it wasn't for the fact that the mainstream media frequently drag him out and put him on TV because, well, it gives what they really like to push, which is sensationalism. Now, when I say media, I am guilty of speaking in a kind of general term. There is media that I respect. Now, maybe if I chose the one I respected the most, it would probably be Financial Times. Mainly because their clientele wants to be informed. They have to be informed. So generally, business journals tend to be the most accurate because their clientele needs to be informed. Whereas the readership of other media, whether it's the Sun, the Daily Mail, or the viewers of Fox News, they want to be sensationalised. I even drove upon a colleague years ago who would tell me that his favourite go-to read was the Daily Mail. I mean, my reaction was one of befuddlement. I shouldn't be surprised, but I was. And I said to him, well, what exactly do you gain from reading the Daily Mail? He says, well, I don't actually read to be informed. I read to be entertained. I said, well, that's a funny kind of entertainment because generally if I meet anybody who's a Daily Mail reader, they tend to be often very angry people, to say the least. I mean, do you really want to be wound up all the time? Is that your idea of entertainment? But he clearly saw it a different way. Now, again, I'm not saying to people go to social media as an alternative. My advice to people is generally try to filter through the narratives and get to the facts. Well, what facts there are, because the facts that they give you are always the facts that suit their narratives. So one of the people who I have a huge amount of respect for, who concentrates on the facts and the facts that matter, is Peter Zeihan. He looks at the real factors, such as demographics, resources, logistics, supply problems. Okay, yeah, it doesn't exactly sound like sensational reading, but for those of us who want to sift through viewing, those of us who want to sift through sensationalism, that's a good choice. Having said I have tremendous respect for him, that's not uncritical respect. The guy does have a kind of predisposition toward superlatives, where everything is the most blank, blank, blank yet. Particularly his claim that Xi Jinping has amassed more power than any other leader in Chinese history. Really? More power than Qin Shi Huang, who was able to build the terracotta army to guard him for eternity and was able to effectively outlaw talk of death itself during his reign? More power than Mao Zedong, who was able to, partly through the force of his own charisma, to command many crazy red book waving student red guards to turn the country into chaos? Is there anything under Xi Jinping comparable to these episodes of Chinese history? Not really. I mean, sorry, I am a results-based person, and I do have to part ways with Peter Zeihan on that particular point, but otherwise I would say he's my go-to guy for many things. Another one of my go-to guys, who's not such a regular, as far as I'm aware, he doesn't have a social media channel, is Nassim Nicholas Taleb, best known for The Black Swan. Now, one of my favourite books of his is Skin in the Game. As the title implies, skin in the game means if somebody has skin in the game, has something at stake. And good examples are people who don't have skin in the game, but particularly what he says, the interventionistas, the people who advocated intervention in Iraq, the war in Iraq, intervention in Kosovo, advocated intervention in Libya, intervention in Syria. Yet when you have horrific results like Libya, Syria, they're always ready to be right again. One person who he likes to point out is Thomas Friedman. That's his favourite go-to person, whereas mine tend to be Piers Morgan. That's no secret by now. But yeah, these square-jawed, rather loud, uninformed, opinionated people are what give journalism and news media a bad name. And like I said, there's many people in news media who I have tremendous respect for. And if only there were few of them, or if only they were more public than the likes of Piers Morgan. And if only the news media would drag out better people than, say, Gordon Chang or Neil Ferguson. I mean, I remember later on in the latter stage of the pandemic, I saw him being called upon for his so-called expert analysis. I thought, why is anyone even talking to this idiot? Same thing with Gordon Chang. Every time I just see him, I just think, oh, yes, send in the clowns. So I'll end this on the note of recommending the book Skin in the Game by Nassim Nicholas Taleb. This will generally help you look at news, look at current events with a more clear mind and think do these people really know what they're talking about? Do these people have skin in the game? Bear that one in mind. And like I say, it's a cracking read. And I read it several years ago, so still very fresh in the memory. So thank you all, and read Nassim Nicholas Taleb.